Chase and Bennett, and I had this idea that I wanted to record most of the guitars. I wanted to record a lot of it together. So I wanted to have them both in the same room and recording their parts at the same time and trying to stay as close to first takes as I possibly can. I was really trying to stick to not punching like every other bar or something like that. Not fixing, definitely not fixing or flex timing anything in post. No beat detection. Another really cool thing about that was trying to get two different tones from Chase and from Bennett. Bennett was a little bit more of like the top end bite that you hear, and Chase's tone was a little bit more of the body underneath. But afterward, I mixed the two in, and I was liking it, but it was bugging me. Something was driving me crazy, and I felt like part of the problem was we didn't put enough focus on mid-range. We'd focused so much on the top end and the bottom end. So what I actually did is I sent the track to Joshua, my buddy Joshua Typely. What I knew is that Joshua is really great with mid-tone guitar tones. And so I went, hey, I need you to real quick, if you could for me, just stack on top of the rhythm guitars here. And so it was a combination of 3 guitars as a result. Chase, I wanted to talk with you because I don't really remember all the gear that you used.
Well, it's not much. I mean, it really wasn't much gear. I was lucky enough to get an endorsement through Fender. Fender makes this deluxe reverb imitation amp called the Tone Master that is all solid state, no tubes. But if you break it up around like 7 or 8 on the volume knob, I mean, I went to 10 for this thing, but it's killer tone, and I didn't really need any pedals for this joint.
Yeah.
So little compression on the input, and that was about it. I ran a standard Paul through that, strung with 12s for a little more meat.
I brought this guy here, which is like, it's a custom PV. It's kind of less poly shaped, but it's got P90s in it, and those are like a lot on, well, they're not single coil pickups. They're a lot like heavier. Like they have a lot more low end, I think you could say. Like they're not as bright and brittle and tinny like a Tele can be. I thought if you wanted that lower, like chunkier, just grittier sound, I thought the P90s would be better for that. Here's mainly what I was using here. First thing I have, like before even the tuner, is this fuzz pedal. So the weird thing about this fuzz is it's an octave fuzz, which means it's got like little notes creeping in an octave above, and there's one also I think like below that you can hear. It's designed after the old Univox Super Fuzz, which was like made by a company called Honey out of Japan in like the early 70s.
In the other room we had, and my gosh, that thing was loud.
It's a 212, so yeah, it's gonna blow the roof off.
He had a Showman amp.
This is an old blackface Fender Showman amp. This one's a 1965 model, and I've got it running through a Mojave speaker cabinet. And the weird thing about this guy is I've got one American speaker on the right, and then I got a British speaker on the left. So the right is a blue Celestion, and then the left is like a Red Coat, I think it's called, like a Red Fang by Red Coat. They're British speakers. So, like, depending on where you mic it, you can get a little more of that brighter American kind of tone from that speaker, or you can get that kind of grittier, punchier British tone.
When we did the solo, I really should have moved the mic to the left speaker because it was a softer speaker. It wasn't quite as bright, which I think was, with the tone that he was getting with that guitar solo, I really should have put the mic over here. I like to just get a good tone from the beginning, but with that situation, I EQ'd the living snot out of it because I should have just recorded it properly, and I didn't. So this is what happens when you don't record it properly. There is reverb, but it's more like room reverb. I wish I had almost had like an extra channel so I could mic like the bathroom tone just to get the freaking sound of the bathroom. But I think we still got a little bit of it, you know, just baked in because we literally had that amp set up in a bathroom.
You totally did.
We recorded each part where they're stacking it. So I've got one in hard left ear and one in hard right ear for each player here. So for Chase, here's his Les Paul. Right. And then on top of that, you've got Bennett. Right, and then finally, you've got Josh, who, again, like I said, is pretty much covering the midtones. So here's Josh. So all together, and you can even hear nobody's perfectly in tune with each other, and I love it. Like it's just a little out, and it's a little messy, and I like that. On the chain, I'm not doing much, and that goes for a lot of these. It was largely about just getting a good tone from the get-go. Oh man, I want to say it was Bennett's idea. It may have been a collective thing where you guys wanted to play that major third there, the second, and then right on top of that, you guys just all started working off of each other. So then it went, yeah. When I sent it to Josh, he then added a whole other part on top of that. There's like 3 parts going on there. I love Bennett. Like, Bennett's really shrilly sound there. He had that crazy distortion pedal that just would like do this crazy thing where with like certain notes, it would like literally give it like a tremolo effect, the way it processed the distortion.
Oh, when you bend, yeah, like the dissonance between 2 notes with the way the octafuzz works, it just creates this crazy noise.
Yeah, it would like do that with the distortion pedal. It was crazy.
Indeed.
The final big thing, obviously, with the guitars is Bennett's solo, which... And he even plays it like Kurt.
Basically, for that tone, I just had that same distorted tone running through chorus. So the fuzz came before the chorus. So I had that here. And then up here, I kicked this guy on. It's this Boss CE5. It's a chorus ensemble. It's like a real rich chorus. It eats up distortion pretty well, I'd say.
Do you remember that little tremolo effect that Bennett used?
That was just a tremolo that he was automating with his hand.
Exactly. He was literally just, he hit a note and then he like turned. So we actually threw that in at the tail end. It's so cool because you got all these guitars and then you just hear that extra little tone on top. Right. It's so cool. So freaking cool. That's really the first time that I really had an excuse to sit 2 people down to play their parts at the same time. The reason that I wanted it to be recorded like both at the same time, not really trying to perfect it too much, is I really wanted that raw live feel to it. You know, what I love about a lot of those grunge records is that it really does just sound like a whole bunch of guys playing in a room, and I wanted to try and capture that, and I think Chase and Bennett nailed that. But even then, you guys still played really tight. It's just not perfected at all. So it's just got that really great feel, just people playing in a room, and I think it's fantastic. You guys played it well. I just made sure we got a good recording and called it a day.